For over 1,000 years, Western civilization has been stuck in a dark age of sexual repression and misinformation. We get an oversexed overload from the media, but nothing in the way of honest, helpful, practical information on sex and how to do it right. That sucks, and I'm fucking sick of it. My name's JV Altheras, and I've spent a couple decades learning everything I can about how to have amazing sex and more of it. Not in a classroom like a lot of people who talk about sex. I learned it all in the gutter, right where Mom told me I'd end up. It's my mission to bring an end to the sexual dark age with brutally honest talk and education on all aspects of sex and sexuality, in an atmosphere that will keep you entertained without treating you like an idiot. Shara and I are not doctors. Certifiable, perhaps, but not certified in any way. And that means we don't have to talk about vaginas and penises to maintain academic credibility. You got a problem with a vagina? Call a gynecologist. You want to learn more about pussies and cocks and how to make them happy? You've come to the right place. Ending the Sexual Dark Age is now sponsored by the internet's most trusted name in adult toys. A happy pussy likes to play more often. AdamandEve.com is offering you guys half off on your choice of thousands upon thousands of vibrators and dildos and cock rings and strap-ons, nipple clamps, porn DVDs, butt plugs, pocket pussies, anything else you can imagine to either get yourself off or have some fun with your playmate. As always, we highly recommend making sex toys part of your sex life, and right now, AdamandEve.com is only asking for one chance to impress you. They're offering an awesome deal in support of ending the sexual dark age, and the whole thing goes a little like this. By typing Dark Age, all one word, for the offer code at checkout, you will get 50% off the most expensive item in your cart, with a few exceptions, free shipping, 3 free porn DVDs, and a sexy free mystery gift. Free DVDs are selected randomly and added to your order before they ship. AdamandEve.com is willing to damn near pay you to get off. So stop by, enter DARKAGE at checkout, and proceed to collect on an awesome deal. Or just follow one of the links on sexualdarkage.com. And if you like surfing on your smartphone, be sure to check out Adam and Eve's new mobile site. Yes, you too can buy dildos right from your iPhone now, thanks to Adam and Eve. Welcome to episode 53.
Look at you with a smile on your face just because you
Nailed you hard this morning.
Had a lot of sex this weekend.
Yeah, and I kept Shara home from work today so I could nail her one more time this morning.
Yes, it was a great day today. What a great day off.
And a great way to get yourself in the proper headspace to talk about sex on a podcast.
Isn't it, though?
It really is.
I'm ready to roll.
All right, well, without further ado, our first question this week comes from a female listener who writes, 2 weeks or so ago, my younger brother came to me and asked if he could permanently have a pair of my underwear so he could try to wear it. I didn't know quite how to react and told him I'd have to think about it. He is 12. I don't know what his reason was to ask, but it made me a bit uncomfortable. On the other hand, I don't want to react in a way that makes him ashamed for any reason, and I want him to have a healthy relationship with his own sexuality. It might just be genuine interest in girls and what it's like to be one. I'm not really sure what my question is, but I just feel like I'm in a weird situation and need some sort of outside judgment of what's going on. Hope you can give some advice about how to tackle this and what it means.
Well, the first thing I thought of was the movie 16 Candles, when the guys all had this whole panty raid thing going on, getting the girls' panties. That's the first thing I thought of. However...
Yeah, he might just want to prove to his friends that he can get a hold of his pair of girls' panties.
But then again, I probably wouldn't ask my sister. I would just take them. And
and that's kind of where I start with this. You know, I mean, I think it's great that she's taking the time to ask the question, you know, and she's actually concerned for her brother's healthy sexuality as he grows older, which is something we love to hear about in people.
Exactly.
Also, I think it's a sign that he already really does trust her. Mm-hmm. Because, as you said, when I was 12 years old, if I wanted a pair of girls' underwear, I just would have taken it. I mean, you know, I had 2 girls that lived in the house with me, you know, my mom and my older sister. So if I would have wanted a pair of my older sister's underwear, I just would have ganked it. So the fact that he's bothering to ask at all means that he's A, got a lot of respect for her and what she thinks, and B, he's comfortable enough with her to just come to her with something like that.
And if she could get into a comfortable space, I would suggest being open and honest and saying, hey, I've been thinking about what you said, and do you mind me asking why you want them? Be open and honest with me, and why do you want them, and see what his response is.
Right.
Because that might make a difference as to how she handles it. But
yeah, you probably want to make sure he's not looking for dirty underwear.
Yeah. True point. So and I think that it's great if it's just that he, is looking into his own sexuality for whatever reason, I think that that's great that she is considering it and actually has a place to go to ask about it.
Yeah, and as she has already said here, there are so many potential reasons that he might want a pair of girls' underwear. I mean, and he might really just want to wear them. I mean, that shit is silky. Guys we intentionally don't have underwear that feels all silky against our cocks because we don't need to be popping tents every time we walk around a corner. But, a girl's underwear is nice and soft and silky. Maybe he just wants to fucking lounge around reading and wear it for a while, which there is, of course, nothing wrong with that.
Maybe I better go back to wearing it more often.
No, I think we're fine without you wearing underwear. It's proven time and again to be a time saver.
Oh.
But, so, I mean, I certainly, I think that her initial assessment is correct. There's really no way to tell, what he wants it for. But, I mean, she may want to ask just, if nothing else, to, let him know that, it's a conversation that they can have.
Right. And if he can go somewhere and be comfortable talking to somebody about it, then that is a step in the right direction for him. So being able to come to her, even if it's about, getting a pair of panties to show the guys, or if it's because he wants to wear them, whatever the reason, it's good that he can feel comfortable enough to come to her and ask instead of just sneaking and taking them. Right.
So, I mean, and I think, so where I come down on this, I guess the root of my advice would be, if she says no, he's still going to want him. He's going to get him from somewhere. I mean, he may end up just stealing him from her. But I say take the opportunity to build a stronger relationship with him. Mm-hmm. Give him a pair, obviously, there's not one of your favorites, but, give him something and build a stronger relationship because he's going to get it anyway. Right. So you might as well take the benefit.
And I just think that asking him first, hey, I've been thinking about it and just, want to know, if you don't mind telling me why, I've been thinking about it, and still give it to him. But I'd ask first why, just so that she can build that, like you said, rapport with him.
Yep. And let us know how things turn out.
Yes, please do.
Next up, we have a question from a swing-curious couple. The husband writes, my wife and I have been tossing around the idea of swinging, and we have befriended a swinging couple. We feel like they're recruiting us. My wife and I are very interested, but we don't know whether or not we're just picking up the idea because we assume it's there. We feel like they've dropped clues in the past, but we wish not to embarrass ourselves by suggesting something if it isn't there. Also, we smoke weed together as a group, and I mentioned to the husband how I wanted to try something more, but not something addictive or scary. He suggested Molly's, aka ecstasy, and mentioned it's great for sex, and mentioned soon we'll just rent a hotel by the beach. Please help.
Well, I think it's kind of obvious that they're hinting, just not coming out and saying, hey. But I think that they're probably being more cautious because they know that this couple, the gentleman that's writing us and his wife, are newbies.
Yeah, and one thing I think to mention here is the perspective difference. When you're in a non-monogamous relationship and it's what you do and you're comfortable with it, it's a very different thing than, being in a monogamous relationship and considering being open for the first time. So, I mean, it's natural to be hesitant. It's natural to worry about being embarrassed. And your friends who are out swingers are not feeling that kind of embarrassment. And my first reaction is, when a swinger invites you to a hotel room by the beach, there's not a lot of mixed signal there.
Exactly. I'd say, okay, when and where?
Yeah. When are we going to get a hotel room together is a pretty clear signal. Mm-hmm. And
sounds like a good idea to me. When do you want to do it?
Yeah,
and JV and Chara might want to join in, so just, let us know when.
Yeah, so there are a lot of different ways that you could approach this to try to open up the dialogue a little bit more. But I will say that swingers, like kinksters, love to talk about sex. One way you could approach them is to say, hey, we've been talking about swinging and we were wondering if we could get any advice from you guys since, you're in a healthy swing relationship. That's a great way to open the door to the conversation. And you're putting right out there that you're considering swinging. So, if you're not sure whether or not they're coming on to you, you would probably find out fairly quickly thereafter.
True. I still say take them up on the beach hotel thought. Go straight to it, because otherwise they might think that they're not interested in them. Yeah. I'd go straight.
Okay, so you would
straight for the beach hotel.
Banging on the microphone. She's getting excited over here.
Well, me The beach.
I know you love the beach.
I do.
Somebody had to say sex near the beach.
Thank goodness I didn't say on the beach, because otherwise, Lord only knows.
Yeah, you got to bring good blankets.
Yeah.
But, okay, so your recommendation would be to just jump right into it.
I think we talk about the, hit or miss thing, and I think the beach hotel was a direct conversation piece to jump on. And it doesn't matter that they didn't say anything that moment when the gentleman brought it up. Now they could still, next time they see them, say, hey, I was thinking about it. And I think that beach hotel idea is a great idea. So if you're ever interested, let me know. Let us know. We're interested. And then it leaves the door open for them to say yes or no. And if they're really interested, they're going to go, okay, yeah, hot damn, let's go.
Yeah, and if you want to be forward without actually, booking the hotel room, simple little things like one of you said, like telling the guy that you'd love to see your wife kiss him, and that's not a commitment. It's a fairly embarrass-free moment, especially with swingers. I mean, you could pull that off with people who weren't swingers, but it's a low risk way to open the door.
Yeah, I'd love to see my wife kiss another woman.
Yeah,
and then that would open the door for, well, my wife's available.
Yeah, but they don't know if they're bi or not yet, or they don't know if they're bi or haven't said here. So,
oh, that's true.
Yeah.
There's one way to find out.
You just assume all women like to lick pussy too, baby. You assume. And we love you for that. But sometimes you have to be reminded.
Moving on.
And there we go.
Moving on.
We've been doing a lot of talking about shower licking pussy recently, so it's on our mind.
Well, yeah. Well, I know. Okay.
Quit trying to hide your face.
I know. Let's move on.
So certainly, we'd love to hear how things go with our ambitious new swingers.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would say, take things a step at a time as far as the swinging part, but definitely, just from what you've told me, I'm confident in saying that you already you have been invited to make a move.
That's
basically.
how I would, I would take it that way, so.
Yeah, now, as to the ecstasy, I am overall a pretty big supporter of altered states, I think would be the best, fairest way to say it. I have not personally done ecstasy. I have done a lot of psychedelics and a lot of hallucinogenics, which are in the same family. My general suggestion on trying new things is to pace them out. Ecstasy is, I do know many people who have taken large quantities of it. It's a psychedelic and a hallucinogenic. It increases the sensations of pleasure and pain. It increases your reaction to tactile stimuli like sound. Sounds cause physical pleasure. The taste of food can cause physical pleasure. So certainly it has earned a rightful reputation as a sex drug. However, I would also say if you're talking about doing it together, especially potentially with this couple that you're talking about swinging with for the first time, I would say don't be in a hurry to add new drugs that you're unfamiliar with to that particular situation.
Right, and they're already going to be trying a new experience for them.
Right, and so even trying ecstasy in a sexually charged situation, I mean, 4 people take ecstasy in the same room and they all kind of want to fuck each other. That's a pretty foregone conclusion. But I would shy away from using that as an icebreaker. I think breaking the ice is something you should do in your natural, normal state of mind, be that, 420 fortified or not. You should do it in your natural everyday state of mind. And because you will want to talk to your wife about it afterwards. You'll both want to have clear memories of whatever you did. I wouldn't inject that into swinging too quickly. However, if you wanted to try a little with your wife, just the two of you, if you were going to do it, I would say start there.
Mm-hmm. I don't have much experience with it because my senses are all,
Because 3 drops of alcohol have you dancing on tables. Yes, Shara's tolerance for drugs and alcohol is incredibly low.
Well, my senses, I think, are very high.
Well, I think they are. And don't think I'm complaining. It makes you a cheap date.
Well, I'll just have to think of something else then. Okay.
But yeah, so you don't have anything to add to that one?
No, I think you've covered it pretty well.
Next up, we have a question from a college freshman. Tips on getting a girl for the first time. So he writes, I'm a freshman in college, and basically I'm wondering how I can get sexually involved with girls. I discovered masturbation when I was 12, and I've been doing it around 3 to 4 times a day ever since. I'm certainly not sick of it, and we should hope you'd never get sick of it, but I'd like to get involved with girls a little more. The problem is that I've never had any sort of sexual experience with another person before, and I don't know how I can find girls who'd be interested. I don't want to spend all my college years masturbating by myself. So do you have any suggestions for me? I'll take any help I can get. Thanks again. Thanks in advance, and keep up the great work on the podcast.
Well, first of all, thank you on the podcast. Second of all, I think I have you beaten how many times I masturbate per day. So,
yeah.
And I found it somewhere between the age of 5 and 8. I'm really not sure of how old I was.
You have the product testers at the dildo factory beat, I'm willing to bet.
Well, it's okay. But, you know, you're not the only one as a college freshman that's in these shoes. And so I really feel like there's almost a whole show that could be dedicated to college students and finding their way. I would, first of all, like to hear from other people out there in their college years. And if they were, you know, new at it and, you know, trying to figure out how to get laid and or get a girl, what were their moves and what did they try to do? On my end, I can tell you that I know a lot of guys that it was there for it, they hadn't had sex and they're dying to have sex, and you know they're college freshmen and how they do it. So they hang out with some of their friends that you know have parties. Some people are more of the nerd type and don't really get together with a bunch of.
Hey, watch what you're saying about nerds.
I know
you got fucked by a nerd this morning.
But you know what? I'll just say this about nerds, okay? They are hot. So if you are a nerd out there, just know that you know how to do it right. So I'm telling you, I am so glad to have this nerd here. Hot, hot, hot. And you sure do know how to take me to limits that I've never, ever had before.
Just doing my job, baby.
So there's lots of research out there for you. You know, different, if you've been listening to our podcast, and, you know, we have some helpful hints out there for people. But as a college student, there's a couple things, you know, get involved, you know, in different activities, whatever it is. You know, if you are of the nerd type, then there's different computer groups and different programs that you can get into. Get into as many social activities as you possibly can so that you have more access to female or male, whatever it is that you're interested in. I'm assuming it's female because I think he said that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so.
He's a guy looking for girls.
Yeah, and don't, a lot of people are afraid. I mean, and don't let fear overcome you. Just take care of that fear by getting out there and enjoying yourself. And sometimes people feel good, you know, maybe having a drink to relax a little bit. But I really urge not to use alcohol as a way to relax. I'd much rather see somebody smoke some pot than to sit out there and drink because it's just a lot safer. But if you don't feel very relaxed, you have to figure out what it is that's going to make you feel relaxed, and possibly watching some porn. We have, you know, given different sites to go to look at porn, to get some helpful tips of how to please a woman if you're not sure.
Well, I think he's looking more. And we hear this kind of stuff a lot, and this is a good thing to talk about on the show. Because this guy is pretty much in the same position that a tremendous amount of college kids are. He is probably away from home for the first time, or at least in an environment where there isn't a school district, you know, controlling a solid 8-hour block of his day every day. You know, he's in an environment where he gets the opportunity to explore a little bit. However, because he grew up in the sexual dark age, he has not gotten any sort of instruction as to the most basic aspects of how to go about it. So, I mean, some of this comes down to just general social stuff, like being comfortable talking to a girl, which is not something that you're born knowing how to do necessarily. I mean, some people are, and it's fortunate for them, but, you know, a lot of people aren't.
Right.
Also because we attach so much anxiety to sex as a matter of day-to-day life in America. But yeah, so as far as the talking to girls, it doesn't have to be uncomfortable. And the best thing to do to start a conversation with anyone is figure out something that you have in common and talk about it. Being in college gives you a whole lot of opportunities. Girls you're in classes with, study partners is a great way to get to know somebody. So if you work together on, you'll have projects, group projects to work together on, and it might sound obvious, but try to use those opportunities to at least get to know some of the girls that are in your classes and going to your college. And also remember, being nice to and getting to know girls you're not actually interested in also introduces you to all of their friends.
Correct.
And that's just basic social networking. Mm-hmm. So I mean, just try to be outgoing to whatever extent that you're comfortable, and it'll be something that you will gain confidence with successes, even if the successes are slow coming in the beginning. You'll gain confidence with the successes.
And one of the things that I found when I was in high school, we had a very large graduating class, and when I look back, people tell me, "Well, you had a lot of friends, but I didn't just stick with one group. Like typically you have the cheerleaders and the football players, and then you have your nerd group, and then you have all these different cliques. I talked to them all. I even including the pot smokers in the junction that we had.
Why you got so much dick in high school, baby?
Never said I got a lot of dick in high school.
Yeah.
But
you do that every time I say it.
But anyway, I talked to them all, and I was friendly with everybody. And I look back, and my sister would say, "You always had so many friends." Well, it was because I chose to open my door to be there for general friendships. And so I think that that's one of the things is, even if you are a nerd or into a certain group or a clique, try to expand those horizons and venture out a little bit. Like, for instance, a lot of colleges will now have like a welcoming group when the first year students are coming in. Join that, even if it sounds a little stupid. Join it because it's going to give you access to those people plus other people. If you didn't join it your first year, then maybe join in and help out on the second and the third year.
And talking to people you're not attracted to is actually great practice for talking to people you are attracted to.
Right.
Because it is still the fundamental social skill of being comfortable having conversations with people you don't know well.
Right.
And the internet, among the many great things it has done for society, has also tended to isolate us a little bit. We can fill up our time and keep ourselves interested alone in a room, even if we're in contact with other people. Facebook, Twitter, even MMOs, chat rooms, whatever. It's still lets us be behind our walls, and that does not foster in-person social skills.
Exactly.
Internet social skills are a completely different type of interaction. So getting comfortable talking to people is great. And now you get to the point where, as a freshman in college, it's actually probably a good time to be making the decision to really approach learning how to get girls. Mm-hmm. You're probably 18 years old. And at your age, not having a ton of experience is something that you can work to your advantage. Be comfortable with the phrase, "I don't have a ton of experience, so tell me if I do anything wrong." Mm-hmm. Girls love to hear that shit. 40-year-old women love to hear that shit. "Tell me if I do something wrong." Because right there, that puts you on a list of guys that is willing to take direction. And that is a tragically small percentage of guys based on all reports. But yeah, so the fact that you don't have experience, don't let yourself get hung up on that. You don't want it to be the first thing out of your mouth. But if the biggest thing is to learn how to develop a rapport with somebody and get comfortable with them. And if you kind of let it out that you don't have a ton of experience, that's also kind of an invitation for a girl to make the first move if she's interested. And also, fortunately, you live in a time where girls are more comfortable than they have been at probably any time in recent memory making the first move and telling guys that at least they're interested, giving you the opportunity to ask them out or something like that. So,
and remember, we have an episode about finding the G spot and all that, right?
I don't know if we've ever talked about the G spot.
I'm pretty sure we did.
I mean, we've done several episodes on the clitoris, but we may have. I mean, this is 53, so my memory's starting to get a little sloppy.
I can't believe that. Maybe we didn't, because you usually can spit it out. Oh yeah, episode 22 and blah blah blah. So we should check that out a little bit, because if so, that's also a helpful hint for you, because a lot of women don't come easily, and so it doesn't necessarily mean it's the guy's fault. It's just that some women, it takes more for them to come. So if you want to be successful at, getting together with women and pleasing them, it's not always about her coming necessarily a lot or all the time.
Well, actually, especially at like 18, 19 years old, most girls would be happy with one.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
they'd be happy with a real one, the first real one.
Right. So you could be that man out there. You could be that person. But, there's so many resources out there for you that I almost sense like a homework assignment for other people out there to give him some advice.
Actually, I think that's a great idea. We are going to do a homework assignment for this episode, and the homework is for the guys out there, or for the girls who like girls, tell us how you got the first girl that you got. Because by default, you were probably relatively young, probably somewhere in the same general age group as this guy. So this is an invitation to tell us your story about how you got your first girl.
Yeah, because I think it would be helpful for him as well. So
yeah,
and let us know how it goes, and let us know if we were helpful, to at least give you some ideas.
Yep, and there is one last thing that I want to mention. Masturbating 3 to 4 times a day, I am going to suggest that you notch that back to once to twice a day. Masturbation is great. We all love it. I'll certainly never say a bad word about it. But if you're trying to inspire yourself to start interacting with girls more and to try to start getting some sex to replace the masturbation with, you will probably be more motivated if you're not jerking off 3 or 4 times a day.
Well, while I agree with you, I'm still going to give the sad face. He can't see
the
it.
Look on her face.
I'm giving you a sad face because I know how hard that's going to be. That would be like a chocoholic having their chocolate taken away.
Well, no,
that
I'm
would
not
be like,
saying stop.
I know.
Not saying
I'm teasing.
Stop.
I'm teasing. You are right. I mean, I know that you're right. That doesn't mean I can't share that sad face for him because...
Oh, well, certainly, but it shouldn't be a sad face. It should be...
I know.
The hope of a new day.
I know.
It should be the aspiration.
It's a goal.
To
it's a
replace
goal.
that hand with some pussy a part of the time.
It's a goal. You have to have goals, like they say in Pretty Woman. You have to have a goal. So you have to have a goal. So this is a goal. So I'll put my happy face on for him because in the end, it's a goal that he's going to be reaching. That's going to make him much happier.
Yeah. So don't do anything that causes you any undue anxiety if you've been jerking off 3 or 4 times a day since you were 12 years old. If a huge change in that program starts causing you stress, then obviously walk it back. But I really think you will find yourself more inspired to go out and get the real thing if you give yourself a little bit less.
I agree.
Anything else to say on this one, Shara?
I just want to know if he's sharing a dorm room with another guy and how he finds time to do it 3 or 4 times a day.
Guys can figure out how and where to jerk off pretty much as many times as they deem
anywhere.
necessary. You probably don't want to know the kinds of places guys come up with to jerk off.
I'm just so proud of him. You go, guy. You go. Okay.
All right, so for our last topic today, this is from Tiger Lily. She posted this actually quite a while ago, so Tiger Lily, we apologize for taking so long getting to it. She writes, so most women can't orgasm from just sex, but I have heard from other shows and podcasts that you can retrain your pussy to orgasm from sex by using your Kegel muscles, by squeezing them around your partner's cock while you are having sex. If this is indeed fact, I would like to know, because it would be nice to get off without having a toy buzzing or a hand rubbing.
I do believe I did that yesterday, didn't I?
You did a lot of things yesterday. The old Kegel squeeze? Yeah, you were doing that.
Yes, I sure was.
Of course, every once in a while, Shara keeps her Kegel muscles in pretty good shape. And she actually has the power to fucking evict me if she wants to. I mean, there's this one way she can clench up her pussy that just forces my dick out. It's hilarious. I mean, it's not that hilarious.
But I'm coming as it's happening. I am coming. So I'm happy,
Oh, yeah, but it's...
and
it's
then you're just bringing...
this combination of spasms that's just like, hey, get out of here. I'm done with you.
Yes. And there are times that I'm just like in a hurry for you to get over so I can finish licking it.
But yeah, so there are actually several questions in one here. And this is one of those things where I think we need to parse a little bit of urban legend and mix in some scientific knowledge. So we know that the clitoris is an organ not unlike a man's cock. When you get excited, it fills up with blood, and it gets bigger and more sensitive. And it has two wings that come down around the entrance to the pussy. Now, based on what we know about human circulation, et cetera, and based on general anatomy, there are a few things that could cause the clitoris, the bigger internal parts of the clitoris, to get more stimulation. And clamping down your Kegel muscles is definitely one of them. If you have strong pubococcygis muscles, Kegel is the exercise, not the muscle. It was Dr. Kegel that came up with the exercise.
Smart doctor.
But, well, certainly.
Worth millions.
Doctor going, what can we do with a pussy? It's new and interesting. That kind of cutting edge thinking has caused some of the greatest advances in human history.
Absolutely.
But, back to seriously, by exercising your Kegel muscles, you will be able to clamp down on a man's cock while you're getting fucked. Shara demonstrated yesterday and this morning. However, there are some other factors that play into what net benefit you as an individual might get out of that. Like cocks are all different sizes. A woman's clitoris, especially the internal part of it, is going to vary a little bit based on their personal anatomy. So if you have a particularly small or less sensitive clitoris, that might play into that. But certainly by squeezing your pubococcygis muscles, God, I wish I could find one doctor that could actually explain to me how to say that right. By squeezing those muscles, you're going to tighten up everything in that area. You're going to basically squeeze down on the cock and cause it to stimulate the internal parts of the clitoris more. So you may very well find that you can have orgasms from penetration if you're increasing the pressure on the internal clitoris. However, for whatever reason, don't be terribly disappointed if you don't get immediate results or you don't get spectacular results. And now that we're seeing a little bit more science on the clitoris, it's causing me to think in a few new ways, and I'd love to see some actual research from people qualified to do it properly. Just like getting in better cardiovascular help will give a man a stronger hard-on, will make it easier for him to get hard and stay hard. Now that we know a little bit more about this tissue that makes up the internal clitoris and how similar it is to the erectile tissue in a cock, I have to believe that improving cardiovascular health would probably increase blood flow to the clitoris, probably allow the clitoris to swell up a little bit bigger, and probably help the whole ball of wax. So I would certainly be curious to know if that would help. So, Tiger Lily, if you wouldn't mind getting on a treadmill for 20 minutes a day for me while you're doing your Kegel exercises and letting us know if the combination of those helps. But
I have a treadmill. Maybe I should try it.
Well, you don't need any help, but if you would like more, baby, there's always room for better.
Exactly. That's what you say all the time when we're signing you off. Where there's always room.
Yeah, so I mean, there's certainly some potential science there. I wouldn't call it an urban legend or anything. I wouldn't necessarily just disregard it. But be aware that there are going to be several factors that will affect whether or not Kegel muscle training or Kegel exercise training will actually help you have that vaginal orgasm. Well, you got this silly grin on your face right now.
I've been, fucked all weekend. And it's been a great weekend. I mean...
Sorry, I got to go see my doctor to get the smile taken off.
No, I'm leaving it on. Are you kidding? Mm-mm. So, and it always inspires me, like the photos that I post every day.
Right.
The more sex I have with you, the more I notice that my photos tend to really be, very sensual.
You've been posting a lot of really nice photos lately.
Thank you. I've been enjoying.
Well, you've been posting a lot of really nice photos since we started the new page.
Well, I've been having a lot of sex lately, so what can I say? It's been all good. All good. I'm telling you, you kept saying that you had to lose a few pounds, and ever since you did, I'm telling you, it's like...
Oh, yeah, I got a few more to lose, overdrive. But I tell you what, guys, I lost some weight, and I feel at least 5 years younger. I need to lose a little bit more, but
I don't see it, but I believe you.
I feel at least 5 years younger, and hell, I just feel so much better. I'm more motivated to actually fuck you when I start getting horny because, I'm just in better shape and more likely to jump off the couch and do something about it.
Well, that's what made me bring this up, is because of the fact that, since you've lost the weight, you're constantly wanting to fuck me. So it's
Well, so you're afraid of what's going to happen when I lose the rest of my weight? Is that what it is?
let's just say that our business better be the multi-million-dollar business by then, because we're never going to be there. So.
Well, baby, you've talked about finding some backup anyway, so.
Yes, but, our ruling is the other one's always there. So,
Right.
So we have to both be available, which means you have to be available and not at work.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll figure out a way to work that out.
Yes, we're going to find the backup for the office. That's what we're going to do. I already have it figured out, okay?
Okay, I got you.
So, and then the days that we are there, it's going to be a hot secretary.
I have such mixed feelings about the hot secretary because I am a responsible boss, so I would never do anything that would constitute sexual harassment.
I didn't
but
say...
I prefer not to have the temptation, just so I'm not tempted.
Well, I don't believe in sexual harassment, as you well know, but I just think that if it's something pleasant for people to look at,
Oh, well, see, and that's the internal conflict. Eye candy is always great, but forbidden fruit is no fun either.
True. Well, would it help you if, like her and I were behind closed doors every now and then?
Well, that would certainly help me because I'd be back there with you.
Oh, that's right. The whole, yeah.
But yes, again, now we're back in the sexual harassment category.
Which I would not do. I would not go there. So.
Oh, I know you would.
I would never. Mm-mm. But
still always fun to talk about having a hot secretary that's open-minded.
Yes. Well, we have had several. So that I enjoyed looking at.
Oh, that you enjoyed looking at. I was about to press for details on that. Wait a minute. You stingy bitch.
No, I always believe, other than you and I, that it's not good to be sexually active with coworkers and all that. And I know that other people do, but
yeah, we were fucking before we opened the company.
Yeah, so I mean, just because it could get ugly if one of you don't get along, and we're very fortunate that we've always been able to work out if we don't agree on something at the business, and we just don't do it. So we've always been fortunate there, but.
Yeah, but again, I'm still split on the hot secretary. I mean, it's on the one hand, it's great scenery. On the other hand, it's forbidden fruit. So, is there anything else you would like to talk about for this episode? I keep having the feeling that there was something I was going to harass you about on the air.
I don't recall.
I can't remember what it was.
I don't recall.
And because you're a good slave, if you can remember, you're going to tell me.
The fortunate thing is I'm so busy all the time, I can't remember. No, really, I can't. Yes, you're right. There was something you're going to harass me about, but honestly, I can't remember because I was actually thinking about how I wanted to thank everybody for listening to our podcast because we had the highest downloads ever since our episode, since we started recording.
Yep. Best day of downloads ever. Broke the old record by over 10%. Good stuff.
So we just want to say thank you because that means that the word is getting out there and everyone's helping to end the sexual dark age. And that to us is one of the most important things more than anything else, is to have a place for people to go, to listen and to get advice and to, put things out there and not worry about their name being mentioned or anything like that.
Yep, and we are hearing, as the audience grows, we're hearing a lot more feedback from the audience. We're having a lot of fun with the new Facebook page. Please stop by and like that if you would like a daily dose of sexy pictures and funny sex stuff, and we're trying to do a little bit more of the sex news stuff. But yeah, just a daily stop for a couple of laughs and, and just, maybe an inspiration or two.
Yeah, an inspiration or two. But just thank you so much for listening and for the feedback that you share. There's a ton of feedback that comes to us that we don't share it all the time on here, but those that even write a question in and say thank you for your podcast and all that. So and we still have a ton of responses that we have to get back to people. So be patient with us. We're getting to them. We're trying to increase it and move to going every 10 days.
Yeah, around about every 7 to 10
So-
days. That seems to be a good balance between, getting the episodes out often enough to keep everybody happy and entertained, as well as giving each episode the best possible chance to get out to the right number of people, or the maximum number of people.
Yeah,
So
and we were able to add
that's
a few
my
more questions.
podcasting science, which I'm happy to share my podcasting scientific discoveries, or scientific observations, I should say, with any of our fellow podcasters out there in the audience.
And so we're able to get to a few more questions this way too. So thank you so much for listening.
Yep. And as the audience gets bigger, we're hearing from more of you, and we think that's great. We always do try to respond, but if you don't get a response from us and you're looking for one, please always feel free to resend whatever you sent us, because our inboxes do get fairly chaotic. Feel free to email me at jvaltheros@gmail.com, Shara at jvshara@gmail.com, or come find us on Facebook or Twitter, or any one of a number of other places.
FetLife.
Yep, and FetLife. And of course, good ratings and reviews on iTunes are always much appreciated. We've gotten a lot of fantastic ratings, and that has helped us, been one of the many things that has helped us get the show out to such a wide audience.
Yeah, so thank you so much.
So is that it?
That's it.
I think I'm supposed to do something filthy to you before we sign off. I'm not sure what it is. I just have this feeling.
Well, if anybody else out there knows what it might be, then, feel free to send a message to jvaltheros@gmail.com.
As she eyes the door. How can I get out of here?
How fast?
No, I think it's because I can't remember, and that's on me. I think I'm going to give you mercy.
Well, thank you, Master. If I
You're welcome,
really did
Slade.
know, I would tell you.
I know you would.
Okay.
So until next time, this be me, JV Altheros, reminding you that sex is one of the greatest things in life, and there is always room for better.
Let's keep trying.